It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side.
Welcome back, Dolphins fans, to another episode of On the FinSide. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all of our off-season coverage, whether you're listening on iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Miami Sports Music, or any of our other platforms. Paul Pickett, and today I'll be sitting down with free agent cornerback Cody Riggs, formerly of the Titans and Buccaneers. Cody, welcome to the show. How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to have you here. Walk us through what the off-season's been like for you thus far.
Well, I finished up in Tampa, and I didn't get signed back there. I had a workout briefly after I didn't sign back, and then since then I've just been training.
All right. Well, we're going to throw it back a little bit. Back in high school, you played for St. Thomas Aquinas. It seems like that school is a hotbed for NFL talent. What's it mean to you that so many of the players from your high school alma mater end up making it up to the NFL level?
Well, it's great because a lot of the guys I went to high school with, we still talk every day, if not at least once a week. And any given week you're playing, you can run into somebody who you played with in high school. It's always somebody on the opposite team or that you're in camp with or somewhere that you'll run into. And it's not even just players. It's scouts, it's coaches that have connections to St. Thomas. And that's great. You walk into a locker room and any given day you're going to see somebody who went to your high school.
Speaking of high school players and youth football players and everything else, what advice would you give to young players like that out there that are looking to make their way to the NFL?
What advice? Oh, man. I tell kids all the time, just stay focused. That's the biggest advice I can give them. You get to college and you're on the big screen and sometimes guys get distracted by it and they get caught up in the hype. You have to stay focused. Another thing is what I would love to see more kids do now is play two sports. That's one thing I've noticed a lot now. Guys are strictly playing one sport. You build more athleticism and you become a better all-around athlete when you play more than one sport. And that's one thing that I wish more kids would do now.
Were you a multi-sport athlete? What other sports did you play growing up?
Yeah, I ran track, so I was a hurdler in high school.
Okay. Now, just throwing it back a little bit before we dive into a few more NFL-based questions. I understand you come from a really good NFL pedigree family, including college ball as well. I know your father was a former Pro Bowl running back, played in the NFL for 10 years. Your brother was a running back for the Dolphins briefly and played up for the Toronto Argonauts. Walk us through some of what it's like having that NFL pedigree in your background.
Well, it was competitive, especially growing up with my brother. When I would be with him, I was always trying to, we would play football, and because he was a lot older than me, he would be on his knees, and I was little, so I would try to, get past him, and it just builds that toughness. My brother was always, pushing me to be tougher and be a better football player. My dad is always someone that you have to talk to for advice. He's been there, done that. He's been a Pro Bowl running back. He's been released. He was drafted. He's been a free agent. So there's nothing he can't tell me that I'm going through that he hasn't gone through.
All right. Well, in that vein of what you're going through and not going through, I know one of the biggest things for development is identifying your strengths and weaknesses. What would you say are some of your biggest strengths and some of your biggest weaknesses that you need to work on as a player?
Biggest weakness, I would say, in this game, you're told your weaknesses. But my biggest weakness probably was my size. And then my biggest strength is my intelligence and my speed. I've always been one of the faster players on the field. I've always been able to digest a play and go make a play before the ball snaps. So I think that's one of my biggest assets and versatility. I played safety and corner in college as well as nickel. I spent the whole year at strong safety at Florida, and I also spent the whole year at corner at Notre Dame. So, coming into a locker room or into a scheme, I can be able to be plugged into multiple positions, and I think that's what helps me.
You're going to be participating in the Pro Player Combine this weekend. Some of our more casual listeners may not know a lot about that. Just give our listeners a little bit of a high level of what that's all about.
So from what I was told, it's an invite only. They invited about 100 guys to come compete in Tampa at a combine where we'll do drills similar to a combine. We have meetings the day before. It's not as long of a process as it is in Indianapolis, but it's a 2-day process, and we go through meetings and we go through drills, and it's just basically a way to get your foot back in the door. Some of us we may not be getting the visits or the calls that other guys are getting, so it's a way to get in front of scouts and GMs and get people talking about you and see that you're still out here and you're still healthy. you can still move the way you used to move, and it's a way to get back on the team.
You mentioned scouts and GMs. I'm going to ask you kind of a pointed question related back to the Dolphins. You're sitting in a room with Dolphins GM Chris Greer. What would you say to him to let him know that you're the guy that he wants to bring in for that roster spot?
First, I like to introduce myself. I'm a really good player who played in a lot of good teams. I have a lot of experience. I'm a smart player. I work hard. I've done a lot as far as playing in big games, and I just want you to know that I'm here to win. I play hard every play. I play special teams. I'm a returner, safety, corner. I do it all, and I would love to get a shot here.
In that same vein, one of the big things that Coach Adam Gase has talked about a lot this offseason is he wants guys that love football. What are some of the biggest things you love about the game?
I've played this game since I was 5 years old. It's something that's taught me everything. Football has brought my best friends. All my best friends are from football. My closest relationships. It's the first sport that I grew to love, and the only sport that I really love. I mentioned I ran track, but track wasn't where my heart was. I could have easily went and ran in college and went somewhere on a track scholarship, but I chose football, and I've grown up around it. It's all I know. I went to grad school, but that was I went to grad school to further my opportunities in football. I wanted to play for another team and get my name out there, and football is all I know. I've played this game forever. I can't even put it into words what it means to me. It's taught me everything. It's taught me about being a man. It's taught me everything in life. So, football means more to a lot of us than what people think.
I got to say, I love that answer. It's probably the best one we've gotten to a question like that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Now, we've talked a little bit about some of the on-field stuff, some of the front office stuff. One of the things I know your agency is big on, I know we're big on, I know the Dolphins are huge on around the NFL, is involvement in the community. Let some of our fans know what they can expect if you were to end up in Miami or wherever, as far as out in the community and things like that.
Well, I'm big on education, so for me, I try to help out high schools when they have whatever program it is they're trying to implement into their school. I try to donate money to that. I'm not going to say what I've done, but I've helped out schools. As far as the community, I've ran camps for my friends. I've gone out and help people run their camps. My parents actually run a nonprofit track organization, Fly to Athlete. That's what I grew up in. So I've always been involved in the community, whether it's track or football. And it's just something I love to do. I grew up in Optimist track. I grew up in Optimist football, and those are the things that helped me get to where I am today.
Awesome. I mean, we're huge on community stuff. I know our merch store that we've got out there, a good percentage of that goes to charity and things like that. So phenomenal hearing that from you. All right, Cody, last question before we let you go here. This is one that nobody from Dolphins CEO Tom Garfinkel to Dolphins legends like Sam Madison and John Offerdahl, nobody's managed to get off our show without answering this question. It's right. A big one. You ready for it?
You putting pressure on me. Yeah, you putting pressure on me, but I'm ready for it.
Oh, this is a big pressure question here. Okay. All right, you're in your car. You roll up to a red light. You got your iPod or your phone or whatever music player you got plugged into the radio. Mm-hmm. What song do you have on your music player that you pray doesn't come on where everybody can hear it blaring out of that car of yours?
Oh man, can I look in my iTunes real quick because I can't even think of the name of the song right now after all that pressure you put on me. But it's
you can go for it.
Wale song. 1 second.
Yeah,
I would say "Staying Power" by Wale.
All right, we can live with that. It's if it makes you feel any better, Sam Madison threw out "Royals" by Lord, and he sang about 12 bars of it before we had to cut him off. So
yeah, for me, I'm more of the recent music right now. You want to talk about songs? Oh man, overall, what would be my number one song? Man, Wale's my favorite artist. Oh man,
yeah, but that one that you don't want anybody to hear coming out of your music player.
That I don't want anybody to hear. Oh man,
yeah,
I play. Oh man, this is gonna be embarrassing. Oh man, I can't even think of one that I sing out loud.
Oof,
you got me there.
All right, no worries, man. No worries at all.
I would say "EXO Tour Life" by Lil Uzi.
What's that?
"EXO Tour Life" by Lil Uzi Vert, for sure.
All right. We can go with that.
I'll go with that one.
Especially
if I'm in a car with one of my
Oh yeah. We've all got something on our iPods that'll come on, and we'll look at each other and be like, oh man. And you know the best part about it is though, they probably want to sing along too. They just don't want to admit it. So.
Yeah, of course.
All right, Cody. Hey, big thanks from us for joining us today. For all those listeners out there, you listen to On the FinSide. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And remember, if it's not on the right side, it's on the left side. It is on the FinSide. Solo D, take us home.
It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side or the right side, then it must be the FinSide. Listen, Dolphins fans across the land all tuning in to see what Brian Cat